at this point, we're going to begin. Welcome everyone to the 2020 virtual STEAM event, Robohack. This is the opening ceremony. We are going to begin with the Paraguayan national anthem.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the heavenless fires, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red clear, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? What
Again, a warm welcome to everyone. My name is Tyler Sheldon, the Curriculum and STEAM Coordinator at the American School of Asuncion. We're very happy to have you here. You are in the right place for the 2020 virtual STEAM event, Robohack. So, again, like we've said multiple times, we are welcoming schools from 4 different countries. Here in Paraguay and Asuncion, we're welcoming you. We also have participants from the Columbus School in Colombia. We have participants in Chile from Nido de Águilas and participants from Brazil at Avenues World School. Amazing to have everyone here. We're really looking forward to your participation and your creativity. And so at this point, I'm going to pass a few warm welcome messages over to get you inspired for this event. The first person I would like to introduce you to is the ASA Athletics and Activities Director, Mr. Gwinyai Jambga.
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody can hear me. I'm going to keep this short and sweet, but it gives me great pleasure and honor on behalf of us as a community to welcome you all to the 2020 Robohack virtual conference. Over the past 2 months, I believe, a lot of hard work has been put into making this event possible, especially during a pandemic. It wasn't always easy. Especially by many of your inspired and motivated faculty members from the 4 schools. So thank you to the team that helped put this together. So now it's time for you guys, you students, to put your common interest in STEAM in action and become creative, imaginative over the next 4 days. We hope that this event in the future can be hosted by our respective schools in person. That way, you students as participants can get to know the cultural experiences that our different countries have to offer. So last but not least, I want you to not forget to have some fun over the next 2 or 3 days. Make some connections while you collaborate. You never know, you could make a friend for life. So welcome everybody, and like I said in the beginning, it is my immense pride and honor to welcome you to this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gwinyai. Next, we will have opening remarks from the American School of Asuncion's Director General, Mr. Christopher Russo.
Hey, everybody. As Tyler said, my name is Chris Russo. I'm the Director General of the American School of Asuncion, and I would like to express a warm welcome to all our participating students and schools for our first ever, but not our last, Robohack. This pandemic has forced everybody around the world to think outside the box with activities and events and collaborative efforts, just like this one, of our participating schools and dedicated staff, their valuable time, their unique passion. This kind of thing, this kind of event is an exemplar of that innovation and that out-of-the-box thinking. And it would not happen without you and your dedication. As such, this is Robohack. I wish you all to have extraordinary fun. You have no choice. Explore and learn something new with all the planned activities, and maybe someday what you learned here will change the world. Enjoy and have fun. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Russo. At this point, I would like to welcome our keynote speaker for the event. We're very blessed to have the director of the Ben Franklin Science Corner here in Asuncion present with us. She's a foremost educator and scientist, especially in STEAM and other activities similar to that. I'd like to introduce her here. Claudia Rodriguez-Ortega is a plant biologist who studied in the United States and is the director of the Ben Franklin Science Corner, one of the main scientific dissemination institutions in Paraguay. The Ben Franklin Science Corner hosts a variety of activities, including experiments for children, talks, courses, workshops, a thematic library, a mini laboratory, and even technological innovations. The Ben Franklin Science Corner was founded in 2013 thanks to the collaboration and support between the Scientific Society of Paraguay and the United States Embassy in Asuncion. For Claudia, who has a background in genetic engineering, botany, and molecular biology, education in the country of Paraguay will only improve if science and technology are disseminated more widely. In the years of these intense growth, the Science Corner has expanded and today has various programs and projects for both students and teachers. Please welcome Mrs. Claudia Rodriguez-Ortega.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the kind invitation from Tyler. Christopher, too. Thank you. We met once, and then now this is the second time we met virtually. So I'm very excited to be here today and to talk about a little bit of what we do here at the Science Corner, and also a little bit about my life and what I've been doing, because I know sometimes I get people saying like, oh, you cannot mix science and education and empowering youth together. And I'm gonna show you like what things, where I come from, what I've been doing, and hopefully, you know, we can inspire today, and you guys can start taking actions from your community, because I know that we're living in difficult times, and I know we have like 4 different countries with us today. So it's very interesting for me to give this. Very excited, and also I want to inspire you. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. There are 120 American spaces around the world. So there is 1, 2, 3 or more in each country, except Paraguay, for example, has 3 right now. So it's gonna be interesting. So I'm gonna start my screen sharing. I'm gonna start presenting. Can you see the full screen, Tyler? Can you tell me if this full screen is showing right now, just in case?
It looks perfect.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Thank you. So I always want to call it my eureka moment, because this is me. I mean, Tyler introduced me, and for me, it wasn't until I got to the Science Corner and I got involved with the youth in the community that I actually started learning about science and learning about humans, or as I call them, youth. It's very interesting. I live by this phrase, okay? I always tell the students, this is the phrase we have this. I'm actually at the Science Corner right now doing office, and we do have this in one of our walls, and it's from Benjamin Franklin, and it's a quote that says, tell me and I forget, teach me and I might remember, involve me and I learn. We really do this at the Science Corner. We try to improve people's lives through science, through education, through technology, and we also try to inspire people. But I always tell them is that you know so much, especially when I work with volunteers that become facilitators here at the Science Corner. You know so much about theory, about what should be, what physics is, what science is, what math is, but you need to, in order for you to really demonstrate what you know, you need to get involved, and then you see how people will teach you, because people teach you every day. I learn every day. I will talk a little bit about my background. So I went to study in the US. I actually lived there for 10 years. I've been living in Paraguay for the past 7 years. But I'm still like in between countries all the time. And I'm a plant biology major. I always tell the students, especially here in Paraguay, that I'm the only plant biologist. All the other, we don't have that major in Paraguay. So people are mainly biologists, and they do mainly conservation biologists, which is different from molecular biology and other things. So I started as a plant biologist. I got inspired by one of my teachers that told me one day, it's like, I see you in science, she said to me. And this is my second class that I'm taking in college, and it was called Introduction to Plant Science. Why did I take that class? I still don't know. But I met this wonderful teacher from UC Davis, and I always tell, I kind of do this as a joke with the students, because I did get accepted into Stanford and Berkeley, but I rejected because I wanted to go to Davis, because it was a better choice for me at the moment, and for my family to be there and do a little bit, to be there. I just love the city, and I wanted to be there, and it was an incredible atmosphere. So I always tell people about all my life in Davis because it's interesting. So I used to take care of the store garden. It's what it's called, and it's like in Davis they do have a lot of we have the major focuses on genetics and biochemistry, and right now in Paraguay. For biologists, we're having a very hard time because there are many laws that they haven't been passed, and the recent law will not allow biologists to work in our fields because, especially in biochemistry or doing sampling of things and other many things that biologists are ready. So that's why I put that we focus on genetics, biochemistry, and other structures, and we function like this. And it's very interesting to see this because in Paraguay, we're used to just, once you go into the biology major, you can only be a biologist. And in the US, it's different. You can start as an undeclared major, and then you work your way into a major, or you can start like me, and I did everything from the beginning. I was pre-med actually, and I didn't want to go then to medical school. I just wanted to stay in biology, so I started there, and that was my first job. I always talk about my second official job, especially to the youth, that I was in charge of the greenhouses, and I was actually in charge of the lab. And I work on biomolecular. It was a biotechnology company, and we created this chemicals that will help for the growers. So it was very interesting to work here. It was my first experience, and I stayed there for a couple of years working with them. First as a volunteer. Then I got hired, and then finally I was offered a permanent position. But I always tell people, it's like there is a lot of value in volunteering and in giving to the community because you never know where you're gonna end up. And I show my little face mask because people think here that having a COVID and using the N95 is a new thing. So I always tell them, no, I used to wear this since long time ago, so I'm kind of used to. So it's interesting. So my next official job was at one of the most high-tech companies in the business for breeders, which is Pioneer. It's a DuPont business, and I was in charge. I was a plant breeder assistant in the United States and Europe. I was in charge of all the collections of the new sunflower plants. So I used to work with sunflowers. And it was pretty cool, this job, because you get to know people from Hawaii, from Chile. I know Pioneer is really big in Chile. And we had an incredible connection with them. And it's interesting that our company had a lot of people from Chile, from Argentina, from all over the world. So it was pretty cool to be a scientist. I always tell the volunteers, it was awesome to be a scientist, but I always felt that I needed something else. Like I didn't feel completed as a person, and I decided that I wanted to raise my family in a more quiet place, or maybe like in a different environment. So I decided to come back to Paraguay, and also it was the need of like, I need to do more. And maybe in the US, I did everything I could, but like I wanted to do more here in Paraguay. So that's why I moved back. It's kind of like a crazy story. And then that's when I got, one of my friends sent me an advertising. It's like, they're looking for a scientist, but they will also be a communicator. And they will also want, I don't know if you're going to be interested in this because it's not really research. And I know you kind of wanted to do research, But I'm just gonna give you, this is education, I don't know, I'm just gonna send it to you. I applied, it was with the US Embassy, and I got the job. And I always show this picture because this is the first, like 7 years ago, this is the science corner. We didn't have anything. It was very tough for us to start. And we opened as an American space. It was the second one after the Roosevelt Library, which is a binational center here where they teach English and Spanish, and they do have a library. But it was different. It was hard. And we started as to promote American culture and promote science between United States and Paraguay. And a lot of people were like, what the science? First of all, they couldn't pronounce it. It was hard for them to pronounce it. They couldn't remember the name because it was, what is science? Ciencia corner. They used to tell me in Spanish. They still do. It's interesting. Or they call me, you know, that place that has the weird name, the Franklin Institute. They also call me that, but there's actually a Franklin Institute in Philadelphia, which is funny. We used to work with them too. So we started this with just little. And as a researcher, I felt that I wasn't going to be able to do this job because I was like, oh no, this is too difficult. And then today we converted into the picture on the bottom where you see it's pretty messy, but that's how it is. Right now it's quiet just because it's COVID. Otherwise this place will be full and I don't have room for it. And we continue to grow. And we went from being a science center or maybe like a regular quiet office into becoming like one of the first maker spaces where everything that you can do here is free and it's open to the public. There is no charge to come and use the facilities, the machines. Right now we have 4 3D printers that are not here with me, that are actually at home, which is kind of weird because I do part-time office and home office. We have a CNC machine. We also have an engraver. We have tons of microscopes. And when Tyler first contacted me in February, this is some of the things we were going to take it to the school. And then COVID happened. And well, we're all like working from home now. But it's still fun. I mean, we're still doing things. But I'm going to go and ask you and tell you a little bit of what we did. This is the program at the Jambga, it was one of the most important projects for us. This project focused on opportunities, and it was the first time that I had to create the whole thing, and I was in charge of the STEAM area, which was all the science, technology, engineering, the art, the math. And what we liked about this program was that we did 5 different fairs. This is always with the Fulbright Association or with alumni from past programs from the US Embassy. And we got together and we do like this huge science fair where we didn't only just have science, we also had opportunities where people, if you were interested in getting into a scholarship or getting into the university in the US, how you could do that. We had that. We also had music, we had performances, we had art, we had everything. And we did this, we get around 26,000 people in different cities, 5 different cities of Paraguay. It was great. It was a great program. From this program, we also met other people around the world that were doing the same thing, and we kept doing more programs with alumni. This is very important for us to work with our alumni. This is the other program we have it that I know it's present in all the 4 countries that are here today. So this is another very good program for involving science and teaching science in a different matter. It's the scientific, what I like about this program, the GLOVE program, is that you can do GLOVE anywhere. And now with your cell phone, you can even be a citizen science and download an app, and you can do mosquito protocols. I know, especially for Brazil and Paraguay, Zika is very important for us. So we do have a program and we have a training, but it also exists in other parts of South America. So we should definitely continue this program. And I'm inviting you, everyone here present today, to be a citizen science, because that's where we're moving. For this program, we also tried to put in some art into the program. And what we did is we designed a 3D printed mosquito. And we did this mosquito larvae because it will be easier for the teachers and also for their students to identify the larvae if they have something 3D printer instead of just looking at the microscope. Sometimes it's easier to talk if you have something in your hand instead of just like looking at slides all day long. Even though today, right now, in our situation, that's what we're doing, but oh well. Then the other two, we have two very interesting, very cool programs, and this is one of the ones that I'm like, it's one of the main focus program. After 7 years, we've been working for 3 years now with this program. It's called peer mentoring. We have two. One is called Only for Girls, but it's in support with the Fulbright Association, and the other one, it's called peer mentoring, and this peer mentoring was born here, and it's with one of the shanty towns we have around the Science Corner. The Science Corner is located downtown of Asunción, which is the capital city of Paraguay, but if you go 2 blocks down, it's a shanty town. It's called La Chacarita, and we are working with them to empower them, and we're working with the youth especially. And the main focus of the program is we have people, you don't want them to drop out of school. That's one thing. And the other thing is offer them the opportunities that sometimes they might not have, like English classes, the possibility of going to a youth university, or many things. And in this, from those programs, the peer mentoring was born, that is to mentor girls. And what we do is we have girls and their facilitators. They're usually STEAM people, or people that are in science, technology, engineering, art, in math, it could be anything. And we talk about technology, and we also talk about social issues. And the volunteers, they act as facilitators for the girls. And it's very interesting because last year they got to meet the NASA, one of the NASA directors. That is, I don't know if everybody can see my pointer, but this is her, and it was very interesting because it was the first time that they got to meet her, and they asked her many questions. She's an engineer. She's super cool. She speaks Spanish. Her name is Sandra Kaufman. From Puerto Rico, and we had a blast with her. She's just really fun, and the girls really enjoy it. It was the first time they met a celebrity for them that was an engineer. And what I love, peer mentoring is so much fun because the thing, first of all, they never believe me that I'm a scientist because they say I don't look like a scientist. Especially, she was the first one that told me that I don't look like a scientist. Because she said to me, you don't look like a scientist. And I said, why I don't look like a scientist? And she said, because you look normal. So for me, that was striking. It's like, what is normal? How do I look like? And she says to me, like, you look like a teacher. And I'm like, okay, sure, no problem. But what is a scientist? And she tells me, like, I didn't know there were like girls science. There's always boys, but I didn't know there were girls. And through that program, we also have them in contact with engineers. There are women engineers, and they're in doing things for us. And for them, it's crazy to see them. And they say, what? They come into my office and they say, teacher, I learned something new. And I'm like, yes, what did you learn? And she tells me, Lorena is an engineer. And I'm like, yes, I knew this. And why? And they would tell me like, I didn't know this. I wasn't expecting this because she's a girl. How can she be an engineer? And I always tell them, no, you can be a girl, you can be an engineer, and these are the things you need to do in order for you to become an engineer. And they get so excited, and it's the energy there. Our classes are very relaxed. It's not like we are a structure. We do have a structure, but of how to not structure the class, which is interesting. We teach them cooking, but instead of just going and baking, we teach them the science behind cooking or things. We also explore some social issues, like a lot of sex education, a lot of we open it to them actually, and they decide what they want to do for the year. It's not that I cannot tell you I have a schedule of things, or I have like this is what I want them to focus on. No, they tell me, I want to learn how to cook, teacher. I want to learn about girls' issues. I want to learn about women's rights. That's also something that they really do want to learn. And it's very interesting. And then I have a group that they always tell me, it's like, we want to learn about robotics, but we don't want to learn with the boys because sometimes we feel threatened with them. So we want to do it there with the girls. And that is super, it's inspiring for me too, because they really make you a better person once you get to work with them and get to know them. It's interesting. And this is the other program we are working on, which is Shesu and me. Shesu means with my mother. Su, S-I, in Guarani or other language that we speak here in Paraguay means mother. And in this program is for 6 grade girls and their mothers with the support of the Fulbright Association. But this one is not in the capital city. This one is in Coronel Oviedo. And I'm showing you the bags with their little shirts that we give them things, we give them materials. We put everything in plastic bags, and then we take them in boxes. We take them to their community. And what we're trying to do there is we work with these low income communities, and we use a different methodology with them. Like, we are trying to inspire them to become better citizens of the world, and we're also trying to inspire them to like stay in school, do not drop out of school, because we see, especially in this area, we see that a lot of girls are dropping out of school because they either have to go to work as a maid in Asunción, or their parents are not, they all live with their single mothers, and they don't have a way to support the entire family. So they try to send them away, and once they send them away to, like, it could be the capital city Asunción, or it could be one of the border cities, and sometimes we don't know what happened to these girls. And the 6th grade is like the age or the moment that we can be working with them, so we can inspire them to finish their high school. And hopefully we can continue this program for 6 more years. We kind of have we didn't have a rough start because of COVID, and we're doing this unplugged activities. What we do is we have a WhatsApp group. We send them a video. They get to see the video. Once they see the video, they get to do the experiments, and then it's like in December we're planning on going and visiting them and talking to them, but we get to see them just like once every month, and hopefully soon we're gonna be able to be together and do more things with them. It's amazing. The energy is it's so much fun to work with girls. It's like so inspiring, because especially with their moms too. Like they get to talk to us and they say, you know, I never did this before, but now I'm doing it with my daughter, and I feel that like I'm accomplished something, because not only she is learning, but I'm also learning how to do things and like seeing the world in a different way now. So I think that's the main purpose of us. And just so you know, talk about some results we have had over these several programs. There are several scholarship holders that we have. And most of the facilitators, they are coming to the Science Corner, and they're becoming facilitators. They're volunteers and then become facilitators. Most of them, they come from low-income families or people that are middle class. So the Science Corner acts as a maker space where they can give you opportunities to grow as a person and to inspire. But the thing is, the energy is so good. You don't only get to inspire you to become better because everybody here is so accomplished, but you also get to inspire other people and they get to inspire you. It's like a very nice circle. So usually when they ask me what's your favorite geometric figure, I always tell them it's the circle, and it's because it doesn't have an end. And basically this is a Science Corner in summary. It's a circle, and it's kind of like the circle. Sometimes they joke around, they tell me, oh, it's a circle of life, because what happens is I have a lot of Fulbrights that they do their masters or they do their PhD abroad, and then they come back and they say, I brought this program, it's incredible, we should do it, and then we'll start doing it. It's crazy. I also receive volunteers from other parts of the world, like I work with American Field Service, or AFS, so I do get a volunteer from abroad that they usually come from Germany. We had Germany and Belgium, Denmark, and I forgetting one country probably, but it's fun because they're so used to living in Europe, and then they come to Paraguay and they have to adapt to the whole culture. It's interesting. We also got one volunteer from the United States. It was very interesting. Most of the people here in this picture, some of them are still in Paraguay, and some of them are not in Paraguay anymore. Especially on this picture, this is us, and it's great. It's great. It's a great opportunity if you live in Paraguay. But then the thing is, okay, I don't live in Paraguay. I got this thing. How can you get involved? You know, we have our social media. I'm leaving you the social media right here in case you want to visit. For the people that are not in Paraguay, go and explore your American spaces that the U.S. Embassy has. They're all over. I know, for example, in Brazil, that it's one of the biggest one is the Casa Thomas Jefferson. I usually go there. Well, not anymore, but I used to. And try to get involved with the community. I know sometimes we are so worked out because we're in class and we have classes, or maybe we think like, I know I'm too young, I'm 12, I'm 13, 14, there's nothing I can do, you know. That's not true. My youngest volunteer, she's 14. She started it when she was 12. It was interesting because she came in as one of girls programs that we have here. She came in as it's called Chicas Super Científica, or Super Scientific Girls. That's what it's called. And she started with coding, with like building a game, things like that. And then after that, her mom said like she wants to be a volunteer because she saw her teachers and they are engineers, and she got really inspired. She wants to volunteer. Now she's 14. She's a facilitator for English classes for the community center. It's amazing because she does everything. She does social media, she does lesson plans, she does everything. So I'm always telling people this: you don't have to be old in order to get involved with the society or with the community. All you have to do is you want to have power. So thank you so much. Thank you, Tyler, for inviting me to this talk. It's always an honor. It's always a pleasure. And I'm just around here. I don't know if there are any questions for me. More
There
than
actually is a question from Anika Klein. I believe she's down in Chile. She has a question: is there a science corner in Santiago, Chile? And so I
yes,
said I will ask you at the end.
yes, there is one. I don't remember the name, but it's in one of the universities. And I was at the science corner. I was at the university, but there is one. If you look at Science Corner in the U.S. Embassy webpage, you will find them. Or find them as American Corners, because that's the other way of finding finding us. And the
Claudia,
one
on behalf
is
of on behalf of the entire team, we want to thank you for your time and your positive stories and your messages and everything that you're doing for the community. And we hope that you've given new windows for students to see their possible futures. So thank you again very, very much for your time.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
All right, everyone, we are going to continue. We are going to begin the conference at this point. And so a very welcome, a strong virtual welcome to the American School of Asuncion and Asuncion. We hope that you could be with us here in the future. You can see the photo in the middle is of our newly developed makerspace, our STEAM building. And we have a beautiful place here. The weather is sunny today and wonderful. The greens have never been greener and the blues have never been bluer. And in the future, we look forward to having you come on our campus. But for now, it's a virtual welcome to ASA. And as you heard Claudia Rodriguez-Ortega talking here, STEAM education is the future. And it's not just math, it's not just technology, it's not just engineering or art or science, it's them combined together. And so like she was mentioning about getting involved early at age 12, at age 14, whenever you can. They say that it's never too late, and today is the best day to do it. Today is the time. And know that everyone can do this. If you feel that this is challenging for you, don't worry. Start small, start supportive, reach out for help, and know that you have a whole group of mentors here that support you, as well as other participants that are encouraging you as well. Okay, we would like to go over some of the conference basics. We've talked about these before, but it's important to go over them again. You have 4 main conference mentors. My name is Tyler Sheldon. I'm from the American School of Asuncion. Julian Zuniga has introduced himself a few times before. He's from the Columbus School in Colombia. We also have Rui Zanchetta from Avenues, the World School in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And we are with Ed Harkins from Nido de Águilas in Chile. And that's the group of us that are your conference mentors to be with you here. The theme that we covered last time, but we'd like to impress again, is our world and the sustainability in Latin America. Specifically, how can we code, build, and make a better world here? And to help focus this theme down a little bit, we've decided to break it into 3 specific design challenges for everyone here to focus on. Your first design challenge is based on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 13, climate action. How can we use technology to identify, analyze, and or take action on climate change? Try to think of all the different ways in your community, in your life, in Latin America, on a small scale, on a regional scale, or on a global scale, that we can combat climate change, down from what we eat, to what we consume, to how we move around, to how we live our lives. And how can we change that? And how can we revolutionize that? And how can we find new ways to take action on climate change? Your second conference design challenge: in what ways can we evolve Latin American urban centers into smart cities and smart communities? Try to think about the ways to make a city livable. What are the specific aspects that make it good for children and good for students and good for people to really integrate with their community and make them sustainable? We have to look at some of the problems. Why are cities not sustainable in the first place? And how can those problems be overcome? Think about employment, think about community, think about activities, think about transportation, and try to think big and think small for this challenge. Our final design, our conference design challenge, how can we use our collective pandemic experience to reinvent the schools for the future? Now, we didn't want to entirely focus on COVID during this conference, but we feel it's important to nod the hat a little bit in that direction. And we've all gone through this, and we're all going through this, and we've all seen new innovative ways of education. And so how can we reinvent our schools? Based on the tools that we've been learning and the experiences that we've been having, how can we shape and change the ways that schools will look in the future? These 3 design challenges are what we are trying to create ideas for during this conference. So during this conference, we have a series of tools that we're trying to combine in unique ways to answer these questions. Now, we hope that one of these or 2 of these, or maybe all of these, directly impact you the most. And we feel that you're probably drawn to one of them the most. And so when you're with your groups, have a discussion with your groups. Which one do you want to focus on? Which one do you want to tackle? You can go about it individually. You can go about it in a pair with people in your groups. You can partner up with people outside of your groups as well. That's fine. But you need to focus on a design challenge. You need to focus on one of these 3 design challenges and use the tools to create solutions. Now, we keep talking about the tools. These are the tools that we're using for this conference. The next time we have a conference, we might use some different tools, but the intention is to keep building your digital toolkit. Thunkable is one of the ones that you can use to build beautiful and powerful apps for both Android and iOS. Vexcode VR is all about programming a virtual robot. So for example, if you want to tackle busing in a city, you can use the robots to try to model what ideal bus routes would look like. P5 processing is a way to create art using digital coding tools. And this is a pretty dense digital coding platform. And so you can learn a lot about coding as well as putting it in more of an artistic canvas. And finally, Tinkercad, a fully functional AutoCAD program. You can build 3D models as well as even look at circuitry systems and Arduino systems. So these are the 4 tools that we're focusing on. Starting today at 2:30, you're going to choose one of them to go to a workshop for. And we encourage you to try to learn as much as you can during this conference. If you're interested in one tool, give it a go during a workshop. And then during tomorrow, we have 2 more workshop times. You could try to look at another tool or stick with your same one. But we encourage you to try to check out multiple ones. Remember that every group has a centralized place for them to meet together, as well as a whiteboard mural. So every group has a meeting platform that you can use, a Google Meet, that you can find directly in the conference handbook. If you go to the handbook, let me screen share here again with my whole screen. Voila. If you go to the conference handbook, you can find where your group meet is. Under participant groups, this is, looks like about page 10 or 12. I can't see, so apologies there. You can find your group name, your group members, and your group meet. This is the centralized place for you to meet and chat in the meantime. Additionally, every group has what's called a group mural. The group mural is the place where you can put your ideas down. And we're going to give you prompts. Today, your prompt will be under the empathize one, actually. So we'll come back to that one in just a moment. Again, if you're having trouble logging into Mural, we recommend using your Google account. The first time you log in, you can type your school's account, and from there you should be able to access it or log in with Google. Sometimes too, you can just log in as a visitor as well, but we recommend to log in with your Google account. Here is a general overview of the conference schedule, but I want to encourage you to really keep a Robohack conference handbook tab open at all times. I do. It's always open at the top of the screen whenever I'm doing my work. And it's a good way to quickly reference what's going to happen today, what's going to happen tomorrow, and what's going to happen in the future. And so you keep the tab open so that you can check the schedule for today. We're going from today from 1 o'clock until 4:30. And tomorrow we're starting at 10 o'clock sharp and going until 6 p.m. Okay? So keep the tab open. It has all the information you need. From the design challenges, from our conference theme, all the way to even some resource materials, both for the design challenges as well as for all of our tools, okay? As a brief overview, today is about conference intro, team building, and tool workshops, and we're focusing on the empathize and define stages. This is a process we covered earlier. This is how we're going to get you to where you need to be for the Friday showcase. We're going to go through the process of the design thinking style, and today we're going to start with empathize. So your first challenge in your groups will be to empathize with one of the design conference challenges. We'll get to that in just a moment. If you haven't read them already, please read the conference driving principles as well. These govern more or less our code of ethics and how we're conducting this conference. These were discussed in multiple conversations with our mentors and coaches, and we believe that these really epitomize the spirit and the dream of this conference. And so I'd like to briefly go over these so that everyone is aware of it. Our first one is success for all. This means everybody. Even if you come in as a total noob, or if this is the third or fourth one that you've done like this, we want everyone here to be successful. We want to encourage everyone to push for your best, to collaborate between each other, and know that we're in this together. And in the end, it really doesn't matter who comes away with what award or what everything. We want to have friendships built, and we want to have everyone walk away with new successes. Our second one is to recognize that there will be challenges. And our goal is to, as a group and individually, overcome obstacles. We need to learn from our mistakes because we're going to have them. We need to know that we will get frustrated, and we need to accept that and move beyond that and grow from the process. And especially when we have challenging situations, we find opportunities inside of them. Additionally, the conference does have rules and regulations, such as properly behaving at all times, appropriately using technology, and being alert to any malicious activity. You can find these at the end of your conference handbook, down toward the end, the rules and regulations. So please read them in your spare time to familiarize yourself with them. To make the plug for it again, Friday night is the time for you to share what you have created, to present your current prototypes, not necessarily a shiny final product, but a current prototype of what you and a partner, or you and a small group have created together. So we really encourage you to make creations both as an individual, as a small group, or even as an entire group. Here are some tips for the showcase, but we'll get to these later. Integrate multiple tools, test and troubleshoot your ideas, and please do document your process. We will give you frequent prompts to document them, but also on your own, document the process. This is the rubric that is used for the design, the Friday showcase. We'll talk about this later during one of the morning sessions. All right, so again, to overview, this is our schedule for this afternoon. We are wrapping up our opening ceremony with about 5 more minutes. At 2 o'clock, we're going to ask everyone to go into your groups. You'll spend about 30 minutes in your groups where you're going to talk about the conference theme, the design challenges, which tools you and people in your group are going to go look at and explore. And we are also going to give you your first documentation challenge, empathize. We're going to ask you to go onto your mural and write a note about which design challenge you empathize with the most. After your group building challenges at 2:30, you're going to move over to one of your workshops. So either Thunkable, VRVex, P5 processing, or Tinkercad. And note that we will be cutting off attendance in each workshop at about 20 participants. So if you come in and there's already 20 participants, you're going to be asked to go find another workshop, okay? So just make sure that in your group, you're spreading it out so that everyone in the group is learning some tools. And then finally, at 4 o'clock, we're gonna come together for an afternoon wrap-up. We'll talk about the design challenges, and we'll even talk a little bit about the challenge define. At this point, I would like to share a quick video about the ideas of divergent and convergent thinking, something that we've talked about a few times already. And I hope this gives a bit more inspiration.
Imagine you have a problem that you need to solve, and you're looking for innovative solutions. In this moment, there's a good chance you'll choose one of two cognitive approaches. In 1956, the psychologist J.P. Guilford coined the terms convergent thinking and divergent thinking to describe these two contrasting approaches. Convergent thinking is linear and systematic, while divergent thinking is more web-like, focusing on the connections between ideas. Convergent thinking narrows down multiple ideas into a single solution. On the other hand, divergent thinking expands outward by generating multiple ideas, often thinking like a hacker and using materials in original ways. Here you treat barriers as design opportunities. Convergent thinking tends to be more focused, while divergent thinking is more flexible and iterative. Convergent thinking is analytical and focused on what's best. By contrast, divergent thinking is more open-ended, and participants are encouraged here to take creative risks, even if some of the ideas might not work. Convergent thinking asks why. Divergent thinking asks why not. Now, it may seem like these two approaches are competitive, but they actually go hand in hand. Often teams will use divergent thinking to generate multiple ideas, followed by convergent thinking to analyze and narrow down the ideas, and then later you'll use divergent thinking to come up with fresh perspectives, followed by convergent thinking yet again in this ongoing cycle. Both are necessary.
I hope this gives a little bit more insight into the value of both convergent and divergent thinking. At this point, we are going to ask for you to go into your groups, and inside of your groups, open up your mural, and using your mural, answer the following question. Which of these three design challenges do you empathize with the most and why? So you have 30 minutes in this point, 30 minutes as a group. So go into your group, talk about the design challenges, talk about the tools, and really post on your mural, your collective mural. Everyone should post down which of the three design challenges you empathize with the most and why. There are a couple questions I'd like to address that have appeared in the chat. One of them says, one question. So we use one tool and these softwares and create a representation. So for example, if I want to use Dunkable, I create an app. That's a great question. Yeah, you can create an app to try to address one of the design challenges, either quality education, sustainable cities and communities, or the climate action. But we encourage you to try to create, as a group, create multiple different things that can sync and integrate together. So if someone in your group creates an app, someone else can use the robots to show how that app can be put into action, and someone else can create digital art to use to either publicize it or as a screen or a backing for it. And somebody asked, can we use Fusion 360 if we know how to use it? We recommend that you use the conference tools. We don't discourage against using other tools to share, but we highly recommend using the conference tools, and especially using the time during the workshops to learn new things. You can introduce some other ideas to your group, but use the time during the workshops to learn some new ideas. All right, at this point, I'd like everyone to get ready, head on over to your meet, and you have your design challenge right here. We are going to stop the sharing at this point, and good luck. We'll see everyone in the workshops in about 30 minutes. For now, you're going to be in your groups. Have a great day.